Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe that I'd like to share with you, and this is called squash vegetable dish, TÖK FdomZELÉK. All you would need for this recipe is 1 medium squash, 250 milliliters of sour cream, 1 1/4 cup milk, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 teaspoons of dry dill, 1 teaspoon of vegeta or vegetable base, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of flour. So what I did was I grated squash and I sprinkled some salt on it, and then I let the squash stand in the salt for approximately 1 hour. And then I squeezed the excess water out of the squash. So I have here some squash that I'd like to show you, and I got this at my grocery store, local grocery store, and you could probably purchase some at your market whenever it's available in season. So you can use different types of squash. So there's butternut squash, there's a star squash, and then there's different types of squash that you can get and you can grate. You can also use zucchini if you like. So I've got approximately about 4 pounds of squash here. Like if you were to weigh it, it's about 4 pounds. It's a 4-pound squash. So then what I did was I melt some butter in a large pot, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the squash, the dill, and the vegetable base, or the vegetable base, to the melted butter. And today I have vegeta. So I'm going to do that right now, and I've got it at a sort of a low temperature right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the squash to it. So as I mentioned, I've drained off all the excess water. I let the squash stand in some salt, sea salt. I usually use sea salt in my recipes for approximately an hour, and then I squeezed out the excess water. And I used a colander. Actually, it's really quite easy to do that, to sort of drain off the water with a colander. So I'm just going to bring the heat up slightly. And this was a very common recipe in our house. My mother would serve it, or my grandmother would serve it with hamburgers or some type of meat. And tonight I'm going to be serving it with my meatloaf, the meatloaf recipe that I have on the website. So I've got some meatloaf prepared, and I'm going to serve it with that. So it's great with a meat dish. So I've got many meat dishes on the website now, but the best ones would be the hamburger recipe or the meatloaf recipe. That would be the one that I would serve it with. So I'm just going to bring this to a medium heat, and I'm going to fry it a bit, and then I'm going to add my vegeta to it. And you could probably get this in your local deli, and if you can't get it, a vegetable base is also good enough to use. So I've already got the salt in there because I've added it to the squash. So I'm just going to fry that a bit, and then I'm going to add some dried dill to it. And you can use actually fresh dill. If you've got fresh dill available, you can actually chop up some fresh dill and add that to that, but I've got some dried dill. And I'm going to stir that in there. And I'm going to let this fry for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add sour cream base to it with some flour. So that's where my 1/4 cup of milk comes into play, because I added to the sour cream, so I sort of water it down with the milk. So the consistency of the sour cream is a bit thinner. So I'm just going to continue doing that, and you have to be careful that you don't burn it, so you have to be continually stirring it. So I'm going to continue doing that until it kind of browns a bit. My squash lightly browns a bit, and then I'm going to add my sour cream base. So I'm going to be coming back and I'm going to be showing you exactly how to do that. Welcome back again to Irinka's Kitchen. I had on the stove some squash, and I've put in the sour cream and the flour base, and I brought it to a boil, a low to medium boil, and it's ready to serve. So what I'd like to do is show you this great recipe. It's a squash vegetable dish, and it's called TÖK FdomZELÉK, and so I'd like to show you what this looks like. So it has sort of a creamy consistency, and you can see the little green specks. That's the dill, the dried dill that I've added to this dish. You can actually use fresh dill. You can chop up fresh dill also. So if you have that, you can get a hold of that herb. That it's actually tastes great with that too. But I had some dried dill weed at home, so I've added that to this recipe. So it can, like I say, it can be served with your favorite meat dish, and there's two dishes on the website that I have that I would recommend that you serve it with, and that's the hamburgers, the Hungarian hamburgers, and the meatloaf. So what I've done for tonight's supper, I've prepared some meatloaf, so from my website. So it's the recipe from my website. And so this was a really favorite recipe of my mom and my grandmother. So they would serve it with those different types of meats. So then I've got on a plate showing you this is what would be served with it. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like with the meatloaf. So you can add the meatloaf to it, or the hamburger, and it's very filling, and it's very tasty. So my husband has already tasted a spoonful of it, and he's saying that it tastes great. So I hope that you enjoy this recipe, serving this recipe to your friends or family. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at irene@irinkaskitchen.com or irinkaskitchen.com. Until next time, bon appetit, jó étvágyat!